Hi, and welcome to the SoCal Yearbook Gal Education Series designed to inspire, encourage, support, and make your life easier. This week, we are talking about covers and cool cover options that you can use, as well as some things to keep an eye out for when you start designing and creating your covers. Before we do that, though, I would like to just go through a couple of things to remember here during this last week of September, and we're going to go ahead and use the yearbook production plan, what to do when guideline. And under people and connections, I really love this first one. It's have your staff members create a you spread, or I used to call it the about me spread. And that's where you have your students create a 2-page spread. This is after you've already taught them about dominant photos, eyelines, modules, these kind of things, the different column plans. And then they go and they practice using actual pictures that they have from their daily life, their childhood, whatever it is. It would be so cool to have a little module, like have the spread be about the student, but then have the module down at the bottom be from their childhood. I think that would be super adorable. It's a great way also to get to know your students better and allow the students to get to know each other better, especially if your goal is to create this team and this family in your classroom. That is a really great activity to really get to know your students. So I love that so much. That's the people and connections. Organization and planning. Make sure that you establish your staff meeting days and times. If you know that you're going to have a late night right before a deadline, if you plan on doing late nights before deadlines, make sure that the students know so that they can plan. Maybe you can also have them, sign up to bring snacks and stuff like that too. But establish those staff meeting days and times, and make sure that everybody is well aware of those times, including your parents. Under editorial and photo, that's the coordinating. So creating secondary coverage packages, that's a really great thing to teach right before you do the About Me spreads, but then also coordinating the end sheets with the cover. So when you're thinking about your cover design, make sure that you're also thinking about how that can be pulled throughout your book as far as the theme goes on your divider pages and also on your end sheet too. And if you're planning on putting your table of contents on the end sheet, I would definitely consider when your deadline is for your end sheets, because oftentimes that's going to be before you're done with your table of contents. So keep that in mind. It's a little risky to put your table of contents on the end sheets, but a lot of people do it. Just know that your end sheet and cover deadlines are typically going to be before you have everything completely decided, especially with how fluid these years have gone the last couple of years. You might have page numbers changing on you, especially if you're doing a chronological book. So keep that in mind. Book and ad sales and promotion. Start your yearbook marketing. Finalize your budget, but start your yearbook marketing. Now's the time to start selling those books. If you're making videos, if you're making posters, if you're writing like crafty emails to parents, start doing that right now. Make sure that becomes a habit for you guys to start selling those yearbooks early, because you want to get all of your pre-orders in before you have to decide your copies and pages. So also under staff development, you can start researching potential sources for your interviews. This is just really getting your students and your staff members to put out their feelers into the school and see what kind of cool stuff is going on. Maybe you have students who are doing competitions or extracurricular activities. It's great to have that in the book as well. And the last thing under staff development for this month is to create a brag board. And the nice thing about that is that your goal is to create this staff that supports each other and encourages each other. And if you have a brag board where you have maybe awesome pictures that the student has taken, or great designs, or just accolades that you can put up on there, that would be really, really cool. So any way that you can boost the kids up is really appreciated, I'm sure. So let's talk about covers really quickly. I want to talk about what you can do. I love this book right here because not only is it just buttery, it feels so nice, but it's a great example of a 4-color cover. And if you want to do gradients of color like this, you would have to do a litho cover. That's the type of cover that this is right here. And a litho cover is printed, and you can do a full spectrum of colors. You can do anything to it too. You can also put silk screens on it. This one has a silk screen right there. You can see it's kind of shiny where it says this to that. And this is shiny. This is a white silk screen. And then this is a matte lamination right here. And it just is such a cool contrast. I love this. You can do different laminations. You could do a matte lamination. You could do a soft touch. You can do gloss. There's a bunch that you can do with laminations. And then there's applications that you could put on it, like a silk screen like this one. Oftentimes you'll see a clear silk screen, which just makes it shiny. It doesn't actually add any color. This one is a white silk screen, but it adds that color to it. But that's one option for you. It's a 4-color litho cover. And again, if you want to print gradients of color, you're going to want to go with something like that. Versus, this is what would be like a classic cover right here. And so this is a material. And the only thing that you can really put on this type of a material is like you can put a foil, you can put a silk screen. And in this case right here, it actually has a really cool application on here so that, and that's just, it was debossed just a little bit so that the sticker could be put on here. Another thing that this one has is it has a grain, and a grain is just a texture that can be put on your books. And it doesn't have to be just on a classic cover. It can also be put on a litho cover. And here's a really great, I talk about this book a lot, it's my favorite. This one right here has a grain right here. It's just a texture where it almost has like a linen feel, but then at the same time on the back, it's just a matte lamination. So they have matte lamination on the back, matte lamination all the way to the spine right here, and then that texture, and then matte lamination right here. So the nice thing about a grain is that you can determine where that grain goes. So that grain is just right here in this strip right here. And actually behind here, there's like a little section. This is just matte behind there. They also have embossing. Embossing means that the element, the text or the image is popping up. Debossing means it's being pressed in. That last book was debossed, so it's being pushed in. And so that gives it that nice raised feel right there. And then this also has a clear silk screen over the text, not the shadow, but it has it over the text right here and this block. And it also has it over these little elements right here just to make those shiny. So that's called a clear silk screen. And then this one is really cool. There's like this, it's an air texture right here. So there's a bunch of different things that you can apply to your cover. You can apply textured inks as well, or textured like UV finishes. And so this one actually has a couple of different textures. There's this air finish around the outside. There's a clear silk screen on here. And then there's a matte, or actually this is soft touch right here in these areas. So it's like soft touch, glossy soft touch, and then like this air texture all the way around it. So this is really cool. Technically, you could do this on a classic cover with, since it's just solid colors, there's not any gradient or anything right there. So this could feasibly be like a white silk screen, a gray silk screen, like that. So if you're just doing 1 or 2 colors and they're solid colors, you can just use silk screens. There's foils. There's a ton of different foils if you want it to be super shiny. Really, the sky's the limit. If you want to do something crazy with your cover, just ask. I'm sure that you can do it. We've done covers that have lights in them. We've done end sheets that have lights in them. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do if you have the budget for it. Just keep in mind that the cooler, crazier cover that you do, the more expensive it's going to be. So again, sky's the limit. Good luck in creating your covers, and make sure that theme that you create on your cover is pulled throughout onto your end sheets, if you print on your end sheets, and then on your divider pages and throughout your book. So good luck. It's probably the coolest, most exciting part of the book creation process is getting your cover and your theme decided. So have a wonderful week. Take care.